do a lot of walking?
Not
As much as we can if the weather is good.
as much as we can. Yeah.
Sawadika, Ajahn. How are you?
Sawadika.
Yes, we can hear you. Yes.
ที่เข้าใจครับ
สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีครับ สวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีค่ะ
Tom and Bev, any topics you found of interest recently or anything you've been discussing with your friends?
You know, our friends, we haven't met recently for various reasons, and they are finding it very tough going because we don't meet that regularly. You know, we try to meet every week, every Wednesday afternoon.
But then we go away for
But then
months.
we go away, but then one of our friends has quite serious medical problems, so has a lot of doctor's appointments. Well, not just one. Anyway, we're not meeting regularly. So whenever we meet, and we have the Pali terms really, how should I say? They struggle with it.
Yeah.
Because they cannot. And but we keep reading. And I think we started to read Abhidhamma in daily life. And it's very difficult. So I think we have to go back to reading. We're open to suggestions as to what to read. We've read the Buddha's Path, but I think we could read it again. I think it's something we could do because, yeah, so that's where we're at. And we're going through with, you know, we talk a lot about, well, you know, suffering dosa. I mean, they understand because they're all going through medical problems, so, you know, we try to think back, you know, as Ajahn always says, the moment it comes and goes, you know, there are conditions we have, and we repeat it. That's where we're at.
So one suggestion might be to try and recast anything that has a Pali term in it into something that doesn't have Pali term. I think Pali terms can be quite an obstacle to newcomers.
Well, if we're reading it, there's a Pali term. I often or usually say the English was, you know, if it's made to loving kindness or, you know, dosa, unpleasant, you know, good feeling, kind feeling, but they still find it difficult.
Yeah, I can understand that. It's really the concept of specific terms having a particular meaning, because the meaning is not the usual conventional meaning of that term anyway.
Yes.
And suffering, for example, can be a misleading translation of dukkha.
Yes.
It immediately makes one think of the subjective experience of that we call suffering, which of course is misleading because the dukkha relates to the conditioned reality, not to the experiencer of the conditioned reality, as it were. So I just throw that out there because we had a similar situation here in Manly when we were holding the discussions with local people, and we found that better to avoid Pali terms altogether, and even reading a Buddhist text and giving that translation doesn't actually get around that. So it probably requires a different approach.
But what did you do? And what did you
do? People sort of raised an issue, question, or a concern in their life, perhaps, and we discussed it just in terms of moment-to-moment realities, but without necessarily using any Pali terms. So what is being experienced now, and experiencing through the different sense doors and the objects that can be experienced through each of the sense doors, and then the thinking about what's been experienced, the value of understanding the present moment, and the idea that so-called problems are a head trip for the large part, because the problem is in the thinking, isn't it? And all sorts of things like that, keeping it at a very general level. So it's not trying to convey or teach Buddhism as such. It's really discussing things that are relevant to their daily life in terms of an understanding of the Dhamma, but without having to mention even the Buddha, specifically. And as time went on, of course, then some became more amenable to one or two Pali terms, but because there was always someone new, then it didn't develop. So we kept it at that level.
Thanks.
One can talk about life now, seeing, hearing, thinking, conceit, like we were talking about last time, or wrong understanding, and the idea of whether there is an I, and all. I think one can talk about all these realities without using Pali terms, and and health and sickness, and what the real issue is, and the difference between the bodily painful feeling and the thinking with aversion and the mental pain, and because it can be off-putting. I remember even the first time we went to Vietnam for discussions, we didn't use any Pali terms at all in the beginning, and then just very gradually started to introduce them. And Hung will remember that, I'm sure. And so I think one has to talk in the language of those ones discussing with.
Sure. Well, we would read from a book and then use that as a jumping off point for discussion. But even that, I think you're right, is probably maybe not the best approach. Yeah.
And of course, with COVID, it's been difficult to keep up regular discussions and everything. So as you say, you probably have to go back to the beginning and the basics and build up again. And,
I mean, that's, yes.
And we all have to hear the basics again and again. And,
always.
Yeah.
Zita, you've been listening to a lot of discussions over the weekend, and any points you found interesting or any topics you'd like to discuss further?
Yes, Sarah, very much so. On the Taiwan yesterday morning, Ajahn kept asking, what is the problem? And I didn't quite get it. I thought, why is she continuing to ask this? However, towards the end, it hit me like a thing in the eye that the problem, well, I think this is what came out of it. The problem is that now is not known. So that was, I wanted to clarify that with her, whether I really got it right or whether I was just imagining that. But it was quite powerful. In fact, as the discussion closed and I turned the computer off, I felt like crying because I didn't want it to end.
I think the question that Ajahn kept coming back to was, is there a problem now? And if so, what is it? So the first question, and I'll let Ajahn take over, but
okay,
is there a problem now?
Okay, thank you.
And what is the answer?
Sawadika Tanachan. The answer, I came to the answer at the end of the discussion yesterday with Vincent and Powell and Irene, that as you kept asking, what is the problem, or is there a problem now? And I was confused because I didn't understand what you were asking, but I came to the conclusion that the problem is that now is unknown.
No understanding of what is now, right?
Yes, no understanding of what is now.
So talking about the group, it can be the group of understanding the truth anytime, even right now. What is so close? What is the closest that can be known? Is it far away, we have to follow it? Or is it just right now, unknown? And understanding the truth has to be understanding what is there, so close now as it is. So each word should be studied carefully to understand the truth, because you see that we just live from birth to death, no understanding of what is there as it is at all. So can there be understanding of it by the one who has enlightened the truth, and talking in details for anyone to begin to understand what is there is the most precious thing in life, understanding what is there. Otherwise, there cannot be any understanding of anything at all, not only just this life, anywhere at all. Talking about the Ukraine problem and so on, what is the understanding of the truth, the absolute truth? That's why we can have many ideas, thinking about this and that, but what is there as the absolute truth that is not known, and try to know other things, not at this very moment. That's why ignorance and attachment cover up everything at any time, even right now. That's why can there be the understanding of the absolute truth of what is there now as it is. Even it's so very subtle, but it's there. So it can be gradually consideration of the truth of what is there now, carefully. So the point in this life or any life is understanding the truth, the absolute truth. Otherwise, it has to be like this on and on and on and on and on. And expectantly what would be the next situation and so on, Ukraine problem or whatever. But what about right now? The problem is, what is it in truth? Is that Ukraine? Is that thing? Is that someone? What is that now? Is that to be understood, but no attention, no considering at all. So how can there be the understanding of that which is there from birth to death and keep on again? Because as long as this moment is gone, another moment arises. So after death has gone, what is that? Is conditioned to arise on and on and on, like this moment. So the truth can be understood. This is the point. Not try to have the moment of experience of noble truth. It's impossible while there's no understanding of what is there now. It's only desire or attachment, craving for something all the time, and attached to whatever is there. Now there is seeing. So attachment and ignorance is there right now. Is that problem? Or no problem to be solved? Great problem of life and samsara, or what? That's why each word of the truth from the enlightenment has to be considered carefully. Right understanding only will condition other moments of life to be moment of understanding what is there. Little by little, the point is just to understand. Otherwise, craving is there. Wistful thinking lurks there all the time. Want to know this and want to know that. And wanting cannot lead to understanding at all. It has to be the careful understanding, not for anything, just to understand the truth. And that which understands the truth works its way to understand more and more, deeper and deeper and deeper. And who knows, this is the only way, the path leading to understand what is there now as it is. That's why it has to be so truthful to the truth, how much understanding of seeing that we have talked about all the time right now. It cannot be as one wishes or one will at all. Impossible. Ignorance is so great because it has been accumulated quite a long time to cover up what is the truth right now of what is there, not just seeing everything in life. That's right, just understanding the truth, because see is now so true, it's there to be known, but no attention, no interest in it at all. So how can it be known? But when there is the understanding of see is there, what it is it known as it is? No idea at all. So without understanding, it's impossible to see the truth. And without understanding, so there must be a reality which can understand what is there now, little by little. Not I who try so much to solve the problem or try to do anything to just solve the present problem, but what about the truth right now? No understanding of what is there. So where is the problem? And what is the problem? And can it be solved? It has to be a moment of beginning to see the subtlety of the truth, which is now. The words of the truth is opening just a little bit, like that light try to see through what is there so very deep. So just understand what is there, not just think about that with some idea, but what about the truth of that which is now appearing? This is the beginning to be truthful to the truth in order to develop on and on with careful consideration. And the truth is there for any time to be considered, even right now. So the words in Pali just talk about the truth. It can be in any language, but when it's moment of what is there, no word at all, because it's a moment of experiencing an object. So in truth, there must be the reality which arises and experiencing what is there, only one at a time. Is that true? So what appears in the world does not appear as it is at all, because just one at a time is experienced. And what are there? So many things are known to condition the moment of seeing right now. So just understand the truth little by little, and that is the fourth path, the fourth truth for Ariya Satya. It's there, so subtle. No one think that it is just a moment, from moment to moment, for right understanding to develop on and on, to understand what is there now, which has been accumulated. And there's no understanding yet until there is the word about it, the word about seeing. It's there now. So what can be the truth that can be known? What is the reality that can be known? It's the seeing, and that which is seen, because it's there, appearing so very close. The innermost is chitta, the experiencing an object. It's there. So deep is not known at all in life from moment to moment. Just to understand the truth. And the truth and the understanding works as well. To realize the truth more and more and more, sharper and sharper. And the moment of understanding is moment of letting go. Ignorance, who knows? Just a moment, so very little, but without a moment so little, it cannot be more. Because everything has to be just from a moment. A moment of seeing is not the moment of seeing a rose or the bed or anything. A moment of seeing is only a moment of seeing that which can be seen. Each word can be considered carefully to understand the truth little by little, that the truth is that in a moment. What is that can be known. If it's not known, it's not right understanding of anything at all. Just think about it. So to be truthful, how much understanding of seeing right now, or not yet. It cannot be clear at all without the understanding developing little by little. And this is a path, who knows, so subtle. It's not just try so hard to understand this or that. Try to understand the word. But what about the reality right then? The word, does it lead to understand that, or just lead to more desire, attachment to understand the meaning of the word, just the meaning? But the word represents that which is now, any moment, no matter it is seeing, hearing, thinking, liking, problem, or whatever. And in life, what is the best thing in life? Money, fame, whatever. Nothing is gone. With wrong understanding, taking it from me or mine all the time. In truth, there are just different realities at a time. Uncontrollable, like now. We're talking, but seeing is there all the time. It doesn't seem that it doesn't known as it's not there anymore. Just arises and falls away in split seconds. This is a subtlety of Dhamma of the world of this moment. Just consider whether it's true or not. That's conditioned for Panya, right understanding, to be firmer and firmer, more confidence of the truth. The truth cannot be known right now when there's no considering, no hearing, no what careful considering, wise considering. It's impossible. It's so deep and so subtle that no one can think about it at all. Even just right now, does anyone think about seeing right now? So deep that no one can think about it without the realization of the truth of each moment. What is it? What is the truth of it? And what is the absolute truth of it? So the problem, not at the moment. If this is, yes, please.
And I was going to say, Tom and Bev, I think this topic can be relevant to discuss with your friends, because it actually started with a question about Ukraine. Someone had heard that we had said that in truth and reality, there's no Ukraine, and they found this very difficult. Mm-hmm. And conventionally, we're used to thinking that the problem is the war in Ukraine, or one's health difficulties, or like Lucas said, one's forgetfulness about what one would like to remember. So we're used to thinking of problems in terms of different situations. And so the discussion continued with, well, let's find out what the real problem is. So at the moment of thinking about Ukraine, or the moment of thinking about the health difficulties, what is the problem at this moment? Is it the idea, or is it the thinking with clinging, the thinking with ignorance now? Because if there's no thinking about Ukraine, where is Ukraine? If there's no thinking about one's health problem or the forgetfulness, where is the health problem or the forgetfulness? So the truth has to come back to this moment. Life has to come back to this moment. So as Azita said, not understanding what is real now is a problem. Ignorance is a problem now, or the wrong understanding that Ukraine is real, or the forgetfulness of yesterday is real. This is a problem. And then we considered deeper and deeper layers of what problem is. So ignorance is a problem, clinging is a problem, clinging to what has gone. Like last week, Ajahn said, well, even thinking about the forgetfulness now that has gone, there's clinging to it, clinging to the fact that there was forgetfulness yesterday. So the clinging now is a problem, like fire at this moment. It's burning all the time, the thinking of clinging, the thinking of ignorance. And then actually the problem goes deeper and deeper. So we were discussing towards the end, Azita, that even the seeing now, the hearing, whatever arises in the deepest sense is a problem, because it arises, it's not in anyone's control, and it's gone, but it's the object of clinging again and again and again. So actually, life in samsara, whatever arises, is a problem in the deepest sense. It's unsatisfactory, it's uncontrollable, and it's impermanent. So one can talk about the layers of problems from what one thinks of conventionally to the deepest sense, and it has to come back to this very moment. So I think it's not so much a matter of the topic, but how it's presented, because everyone can relate to thinking about Ukraine as a problem. But what is the problem at this very moment? And this may be of interest for you, Tom, because I know you have an interest in the world and the politics, but considering that even now, what is the problem? I think it's very helpful for everyone. Do you have any comments about it, Tom? I'm trying to help keep you awake.
No, I agree. You know, I think a lot of it's just thinking. There's, you know, as there is no Ukraine, and, you know, there's a lot of suffering, but, you know, it's a lot of thinking.
It's a lot of thinking, and even like you mentioned about your friend who has the health issues, most of the problem is just the thinking, the dwelling on the story, because the moments of pain are so brief and gone, but there's thinking again and again about my tumor or my state of COVID or my test result that is coming, dwelling on the story. So the problem still is always the thinking now, thinking with the clinging. And you think, how can there be clinging to this health problem or the pain? Because when dwelling on the story about what's gone, the pain is gone, but there's dwelling on the story. So it's clinging to it again and again, torturing oneself by thinking and dwelling with clinging and aversion and ignorance again and again, forgetting that life is so very brief at this moment, and whatever arises is sunyata. So that's why there has to be more and more the understanding of the realities at this moment. Otherwise, like I think we discussed last week, one just lives dreaming and wishing and hoping and forgetting all about life right now. So I think this is helpful for everyone.
And of course, it may be necessary to explain that one is not trying to minimize the significance of health issues. I mean, one still seeks appropriate medical attention. There's no suggestion of any change in the way that the situation is addressed, but it's the worry and the thinking and the the concerns about things that are really beyond one's control that is being emphasized. And I think people do react to this, as long as I say they don't think one is trying to say they shouldn't be concerned about their health. And it's the same with many of the problems that we like to discuss, the war in Ukraine or whatever, climate change. It's not to say that one should be immune to the welfare of other people, but one has a different perspective on what is possible.
And the main point, which is so difficult for people to appreciate, and again, it has to be little by little, is that there's no I in truth that can ever be found that can change what is conditioned at this moment, or can change it or make it any different. And whatever has arisen, the seeing, the hearing, the thinking, the pain, it's all gone instantly. So it helps, the little understanding helps one to live more easily, no matter what the situation is, no matter what the circumstances are. And I think people can appreciate that when at moments of seeing or hearing or thinking, there's no pain at those moments. So whatever it is, it's gone like a wave that passes by. Nothing lasts at all. So what's the use of dwelling again and again on what has gone?
When there is pain, it hurts, but it's not constant. But I think it doesn't last. Overwhelm.
Yes. And it's conditioned, it has to be that way. So this is why the patience is so important, because it's conditioned like that. And that's how life is. No one can stop it. No one can change it, because it's conditioned, but then it's gone. It's not all the time.
And this is why the problem is, one aspect of the problem that is now is life in samsara. Well, the bodily pain is an inevitable aspect of that. So even, of course, the Arahant experiences that.
And that's why, in the deepest sense, whatever is conditioned to arise is a problem. Even the pleasant feeling, because it doesn't last at all, but there's clinging. And then there's great sadness and grief when it's no longer there, and there's unpleasant feeling. So whatever is conditioned now is gone instantly. So the problem is now, and the only way to remedy the problem is for the understanding to develop, to understand the truth at this moment. On and on.
Also, I think the problem is wanting just to have pleasant dreams and of course not wanting to have bad dreams, but not understanding the cause for having pleasant dreams, and which basically is being awake. But so it's really a difficult situation. It's really a problem because of not liking the effect, but not understanding the cause of the result. Yeah, definitely a big problem, I think.
And it seems the pain hurts and it's so tough, but actually it's one moment of experience in the sense door process, followed by so many mind door processes with aversion on account of the clinging, with unpleasant mental feeling. So it seems that it lasts, but it's actually such brief moments, each one gone. But this clinging onto the story, clinging with thinking and aversion and wishing for it to be something different, as you say.
I'm beginning to see why clinging is the second noble truth, because there just seems to be clinging to everything. Like you're just talking, Sarah, about clinging to the pain, or well, we're not clinging to the pain, but we're clinging to wanting to get rid of the pain.
Clinging to the story of I having the pain, dwelling on it, dwelling on the story. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So it's very obvious that it's the second noble truth, clinging. And I'm wondering, that's Lopa. But does that particular noble truth include the accompanying moha and ditthi and mana? It must do, because they all arise. They can.
The ignorance is there, so it arises together. So when we talk about clinging, it's clinging with ignorance as well, not understanding. And any kind of clinging with mana, clinging with ditthi, or clinging without mana or ditthi, any clinging at all.
Great. And I've also heard Achan say, getting closer and closer. And I thought about that, and it's like the realities are here now, but we just don't know about it. I mean, and if we've never heard the Buddha's teachings, there's no knowing at all. And even listening again and again, it's all of the defiant ones just keep arising, the thinking, the thoughts, the concepts. So there's very little being close. It always seems to me far away from the truth rather than being close. And I think that being close is moments of understanding.
What is actually now, seeing now, hearing now, pleasant feeling now, what is actually appearing right now, closer and closer to the truth at this very moment. Otherwise, it's just a story about the Dhammas we've heard about, a story about the Four Noble Truths, but what is the truth right now? What is the reality now, which is dukkha? It's the seeing now, the hearing now. But I'm sure Ajahn can also talk more about getting closer and closer, all the points you mentioned.
Is there any clinging now?
Yes, Ajahn. I'm clinging to what you're going to say, I think.
Yeah, unknown, because we think about clinging of this and that. But at this moment, clinging to seeing, closer than that. Whatever is there is the object of clinging with ignorance. So, is anyone ill now? Or sick?
Is anyone, what I missed what you said, Ajahn. Is anyone
ill or sick?
Ill? Well, in the true sense of the word, if there's no understanding, I would think that was being ill.
Does anyone take medicine?
Yes.
For this kind of illness?
Well, I think the medicine I'm thinking of is just listening to Buddha's words.
That's right. As long as there is no understanding of what is there now, is the object of understanding. It's not just when it's gone and think about it, but right now, what is there? Object of clinging instantly. Before try to solve the problem of Ukraine, what about seeing right now? Is it not a problem? Because it brings about many stories about Ukraine and anything. If there's no reality which thinks about it at all, there's nothing to be sorry about. Right?
Yes, Ajahn.
So who's the best doctor?
The Buddha.
Because he has medicine for any kind of disease.
Mm.
The mental disease, no one can cure except right understanding. Because even if one is sick now, it's not known. One smile, one have many moments of kusla, vipaka, and so on, but no understanding that is that moment sick or sickness. That's why understanding more about what is there can condition moment of understanding the absolute truth. It's so absolute reality that no one can stop its arising or condition it to arise at all by conditions only, non-stop, as long as there are conditions for whatever arises, it arises, it arises. Right now, see, that's why we talk about the truth of what is there now, in order to get closer to understand that which is there now, so close, not far away at all. Otherwise, just hearing the truth, understanding the truth intellectually, but what about the actual reality? And what is the truth of that actual reality right now? It's there unknown until beginning to understand it little by little, because it's covered up for eons and years, more than that, uncountable eons. So how can it be away instantly? Impossible. That's why the moment of understanding the truth, to be truthful to the truth, what is true, and can it be known, and how to understand it, from hearing and considering, and have confidence of the truth as being truthful to the truth. Otherwise, it cannot be known, even if so close. Just learn about the truth, to have confidence of the truth. That's all. That's all. Otherwise, attachment is there again, lurking in a corner, until it's known as is the second noble truth. That's why Panya and Lopa is so far apart.
And I have heard you say, Ajahn, that Lopa appears as a friend because it's often accompanied by happy feeling. It's never accompanied by unpleasant feelings. So it appears as a friend, but it's actually the worst enemy.
Mm-hmm. The enemy when we don't know that it's enemy. Does anyone like Lopa?
Well, yes, because it feels pleasant. It's generally accompanied by pleasant feeling, and it's Lopa because of things that we like.
And in truth, Lopa likes Lopa. It loves everything.
Lopa likes Lopa. Mm.
No one want to get rid of it, just want to have it more and more and more. That's why right understanding develop against the current of Lopa and ignorance.
I would think that this. Sorry, Achan, go ahead.
Yes, please.
Well, I was thinking about Lopa. So in the world, you know, if Lopa becomes stronger and stronger and there's more desire, the more evil deeds are performed because of Lopa. People steal and kill and do many bad things because of desire, I would think. Because
even
of Lopa.
Problem, say, by Lopa. And only Panya can understand that, but it's so very little that it does not really see the moment when what is there now arises and falls away. So it's just the fire out there, not on the head right now.
Yes, on the head and in the heart.
It's where beginning to have confidence that there is only one way to understand the truth. Manasikara, the attention to what is there. Otherwise, no attention at all. No matter it's gone or no matter it's there. Just wanting all the time to get this and that. So it's now Lopa.
Yes, I would say so because I'm feeling quite happy listening.
It's the unknown until it's known. As it is, Lopa, attachment.
So what you're saying is, well, I think I know Lopa, but obviously not because there's not it has to be understanding of some degree that actually knows the Lopa when it arises.
As what?
As what? As Lopa, as clinging.
Really? As I have Lopa?
Yes, as I have Lopa. Yes. But if there's understanding, Achan, doesn't understanding know that it's not I, that it is just a reality, it's just Lopa?
From the very beginning, that is the Lopa. Now, who makes it arise? Does it fall away? See, this is the beginning to understand what is there as it is, a reality. Lopa is not dosa. Where is the I at any moment? For example, seeing right now, that is seeing, and there is that which is seen. Where's the I? At moment of getting angry, it's anger. Where is the I? It's anger at that moment, which is there. Beginning to understand what is meant by no I and no thing. To begin to understand what is there, just one at a time, one characteristic at a time. Attachment, lopa, is not dosa, is not moha. Beginning to understand the truth little by little. At moment of understanding, it let go. Understanding a little, it let go a little. See, until everything, ignorance, is there, no more. Can it be realized? Moment of understanding the truth, closer and closer and closer. Because now it's not moment of being close to the truth yet. Just hearing about it and beginning to be truthful to the truth, so that it can condition moment of understanding more about it. That how can not it be known instantly? Impossible. Because even right now, after 3 moments after seeing, it's the asava. That's why reality arises and falls in split seconds so very, very rapidly. So how can it be known clearly? That's why begin to understand what appears every day does not appear well, because it just appears as just sitting on the train and it runs so very fast. What is seen is not clear at all. Beginning to understand why it's not clear, because it appears together like something by nimitta, not just a reality appearing at a time at all, or a nimitta of just a reality is not known yet. That's why I understand the word in Tipitaka. It does not appear well. That's why understanding the meaning of what is meant by vipassana, understanding clearly. So now it's not clear because seeing, sees, and gone. Even there is seeing right now, no understanding of its characteristic as it is yet. That's why learn to understand what is right understanding and what is ignorance and what is there in a day. That's why beginning to understand the truth, that the truth is the truth, but so very subtle. It takes time and interest and all kinds of kusala to be truthful to the truth, to understand it any time, not just the moment when one thing that one can do and one will try at all. It can arise anytime, like seeing, hearing, smelling. It can arise anytime. It cannot be expected at all. That's why just daily life in a day, they are all conditioned reality. It's not known as a reality, but from hearing, considering, it accumulates on and on and on until it conditioned moment of just think about it, hardness appearing now. That should be known as it is, only when it's there, not together with what is seen right now. Each word should be carefully studied to understand the depth of it, that it's so deep because it does not appear as it is at all, no matter what in a day. So right understanding or panya, what we say, works its way very, very patiently to understand the truth. That's why patience is also part of me. When there is the understanding about the truth, it depends on chanda and all the Bodhipagya-Dhamma factors for understanding the truth to develop time to time by conditions. And this is the moment of letting go, clinging to attain enlightenment, to do something to understand more and quicker than now. It's impossible. And when there is the understanding that it's impossible, it's not at anyone's control at all, that is right understanding, which is letting go little by little of ignorance and attachment of whatever is there now. And that is meant by the path is so very subtle because it is the fourth Ariya Satya. Only way to understand what is there which hasn't been understood and convert eons and eons. And without intellectual understanding, with truthfulness, how can it work? Right understanding, no way at all. But when there is confidence of the truth that it's a reality, as soon as it's said, a reality, it's real at the moment when it's there. Right now, seeing is real at the moment when it's there, only when it's there, to be known. That's why hearing about the truth of it little by little, no expectation for the development of right understanding to develop on and on in its own way. No, it's the moment to let go that I would like to understand, see right now why it's not me. When there is the understanding of unreality, a reality is a me or a reality. Wise considering has to develop on and on and on by itself, not by anyone. That's why Buddha taught about all kinds of realities, citta and citasikas and rupa. No one there at all, only citta, citasikas and rupa. Is that true?
Yes, Ajahn, that's true. Yeah.
So it's only right understanding. No one. That's the only way to let go ignorance and clinging to what is there now. Gradually, unknowingly, until different stages of understanding is there by conditions, no doubt. Without conditions, nothing can arise at all. But as long as it's not the Four Noble Truths, there must be doubt, even right now. That's why what is there begin to be known as it is, little by little, to be strong enough to let go the idea of self, even from the intellectual understanding, gradually leading to more understanding. Beyond control, but understand clear about what is said, just one word. What appears now does not appear well. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct. Yeah.
See how much ignorance, not understanding it, until hearing about the truth and beginning to understand it, and not I at all, because understanding understands a reality which understands. Each has its own characteristic, no matter it is understanding. or ignorance or attachment or anger. It's there as it is, but it's taken for I because of ignorance, no understanding the truth of this very moment, because they do not appear well until just one reality is the object of understanding at the moment of attending to the characteristic in the beginning. It's there, a reality only that. And then later, on and on, more understanding, because there can be awareness of the characteristic which is hard or which experience hardness, until it's so clear at level of vipassana jnana. And even that is only the first stage, not closer enough to experience the moment of arising and falling away of bandhati, of a reality. How deep it is right now. What appears is just the skin. And the truth is deep down. So very, very quickly, unknown, until Panya begin to understand little by little, letting go. Ignorance, little by little. No attachment with ignorance, little by little. Until our conditioned reality is absolutely eradicated.
Thank you, Ajahn. That's wonderful. I really appreciate listening to you.
Otherwise, we really don't understand the point of listening. That it is just to understand what is there. As no one, not I try, but it's by conditions. And it goes its way by conditions in life as usual. But Panya is there, which arises to understand whatever is there by conditions. Time to time, little by little. And it agrees with what it said in Tipitaka, what Buddha taught. But without understanding, we take it so very superficially that no one knows how. See, it's not me, it's a reality. But what about the understanding deeper than that, about the truth of what is said? And
it seems to become clearer just why patience is a parami without
Satya parami too.
All of them, I guess, yes.
Adidana parami, kanti parami, nekama parami ada.
Yeah. Yeah.
And on the point, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Sarah.
Just going to say, Zita, on the point about lobha that you mentioned earlier, or dosa, it seems anyone knows, oh, there's anger or there's strong attachment when enjoying food, for example. But when it is my lobha or my dosa or my painful feeling, is it actually any understanding? Or do we usually take what is not understanding for understanding? Because just knowing there is anger, when it's my anger, it's actually not understanding of anger as Dhamma or Lobha as a Dharma, even in the development of Samatha Bhavana, even when there is understanding of different kilesa, but still it's my kilesa, my defilements. So it's not actually any understanding of Lobha as Dhamma or anger as Dharma. So that's why from the very beginning there has to be the understanding of realities as Dhammas. Otherwise, all the way it's the understanding of my conceit, my wrong view, my clinging, not really any understanding of the truth at all. And I thought it was a good point that Ajahn was mentioning, like when we were talking about problems earlier, actually layers and layers. So until all conditioned realities are absolutely eradicated, there are deeper and deeper and deeper layers of problems to be known. So whatever is conditioned to arise is a problem in the deepest sense, and the understanding has to penetrate deeper and deeper, closer and closer to the truth of what is there. And as she said, even the seeing now, the hearing now, without seeing or hearing, there wouldn't be the story and the worry about Ukraine at all, or the story and the worry about someone's health problem that one had heard about. So each reality now is a problem, but the understanding has to penetrate deeper and deeper and appreciate that they are all dharmas.
And I think I'm not sure which discussion it came up in over the weekend, but at the stage of Sotapanna, there's then no idea, well, the wrong view of I has been eradicated. However, there's still clinging. There's clinging and there's mana, and it gave me the idea, it broke up this idea of a being, a person with this, but it isn't a person with this, it is these realities, like that reality of Diti has been eradicated, but there's still the reality of mana and lopa and possibly dosa, I guess, with Sotapanna. Much less, but certainly there's still.
Well, there's clinging to sense objects, still dosa, still lots of dosa, yes. Only and the anagami has no more dosa because no more clinging to what is seen, what is heard, what is tasted.
Yeah. Yeah, that talking about that was, that was very good for me, just to break up this so-called being into realities, I guess, intellectually. Yeah. I can't hear you.
That's why it always has to come back to now, the seeing now, the hearing now, the reality at this very moment. Otherwise, there's always an idea of a being or I or the other or something there.
I think it's that reminders, that's what got me so much in the discussion in Thailand, coming right to now. I mean, that's all there is in reality. Now is all there is. And if it's not known, then it's pointless, we can go off in all sorts of directions. So those reminders are precious in my view. Absolutely. The most precious.
And isn't it a relief, like the forgetfulness that Luke was talking about, or the problems yesterday, or what one heard in the news? It's all gone. It's of no consequence at all, or all the pleasant holidays and experiences and trips and this and that, times in India or anywhere else. It's all gone. There's only life now. So there can be, through understanding, gradual letting go of whatever has gone and whatever hasn't come.
Yeah, you said relief. Yes, there is sometimes relief when there's thinking like
such a burden clinging on to everything that's gone in the past and what may happen and what will come and what this and this will do or show or what the scan will reveal. What about just now? Yes. Sorry, Anne, carry on with what you were going to say.
I was just talking about patience among other paramis, but with patience, it's I guess it's becoming clearer why it is a parami. It's without the patience, there's well, it needs to be wisdom and all of them combined, actually, but the clinging and the wrong understanding is so deep, so very deep that it will just continue on and without, unless there is I'm trying to avoid saying I am patient, because that doesn't do it. There has to be patience arising that is understood as a Dhamma, and without wrong understanding for the patience necessary to be able to arise. I don't think I'm making myself clear at all.
And I think the point also is that if there's no patience, there's no understanding, because the clinging comes in so quickly, and so the wishing, the trying for results, the hoping.
Exactly.
So there has to be patience in order for understanding to understand what appears now and develop.
For sure.
So it is very important.
I think that's probably what I was trying to say, but it wasn't coming out.
So even at the moments of listening and considering, the patience has to be there, developing, and for the understanding to develop on and on. That's a good point. And as Ajahn said, also the Satya Parami and the Adhitthana and the other paramis. But
for sure,
I think it's helpful to reflect on the importance of patience for understanding and for the development of the path.
Because we so often think of patience as mine. I am not patient, or this makes me impatient, or something that's full of wrong view.
Like Zita's often said, conventionally one can be very impatient, always wriggling around or going from here to there, but the patience we're talking about with the development of understanding has nothing to do with those conventional ideas at all.
Right.
Even when wriggling around or rushing around, there can be understanding with patience anytime, unexpectedly.
Well, I think if understanding arises, there will be patience. But well, I may be wrong, but I'm thinking that when understanding arises, there is also patience.
There must be patience,
Yeah.
kusala, viriya, at those moments, like in the example Tom gave, when there's strong pain or any time, there can be understanding even at that moment, and patience at that moment with just what is conditioned. It cannot be any other way. It has to be like that.
Yes, thank you.
Is Saddha one of the paramis? Sadha.
It's kusala factor that has to arise with all kusala chittas. So even the kusala cetasikas that are not paramis that have to arise still without sada, no understanding, no kusala of any kind.
Okay, so that also involves someone who's never heard the Buddha's teachings, but is very generous. That's kusala. So saddha arises then.
Yes, with any kusala at all, moments of kindness, at moments of generosity, with any kusala at all.
Okay, thank you.
At that point, it's the saddha is connecting with the confidence in kusala, confidence in good for someone who's not familiar with the Dhamma, but certainly without knowing. Pardon,
and
Sarah?
it purifies the citta like the water purifying gems. So it purifies the citta, so no akusala arises at that moment.
Right. It's a condition for kusala. One of the
It's
conditions.
a condition, but yes, it's essential for kusala, the purifying factor. And it is confident in kusala at those moments.
Just another good example of anatta, I think.
Whatever arises is a good example of anatta.
Anatta.
Whether it's a parami or not.
Yes, of course.
It's so easy to think that unless I'm thinking about or that, oh boy, this is not coming out at all. Without, I go back to the expression that we referred to a number of times. I think it was probably in Poland, I am anatta. It's so easy to think that one has an idea or a grasp on anatta just by intellectually knowing that dhammas are anatta. But time and time again, it's like we were saying earlier, what was it? I am impatient, I am this and that.
I understand lobha.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm aware of lobha.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. The example was used in Poland. I don't need to go to work because it's anatta anyway, whether I go or not, whether this happens or that. Or if I don't wake up today, well, it's anatta. I am anatta all the time.
That's right.
I think it's probably one of the really pernicious wrong views, because if there's the view that I am anatta, and it could be anatta or just natta, it's because that accumulates, and I think it's just a really pernicious wrong view. Just a little thing I wrote down last night. It was in the Vietnam discussion regarding that getting closer and closer. Nothing is as close as Citta and Cetasika, which are here and now. And I found Achan's comment on getting closer and closer very helpful.
She was mentioning Hadia. So one other term for Citta is Hadia, the innermost. So nothing is closer than the innermost reality now, which is Citta or Hadia.
So that Hadia, this Hadia and this Hadia Vatu, so that Hadia, it means Citta.
So it means the innermost. So it's referring to Citta, the nature of Citta, that is the innermost. Hadia, different from Hadia Vatu. So it's another term for Citta, like Pandara refers to the pureness of Citta, and Hadia to the innermost nature of Citta right now. So nothing is closer than Citta at this very moment. But we've just got a few minutes, so I'll just see if Ajahn would like to add to any of these points we've just been mentioning.
That went quickly.
That's right. Understanding what's the innermost must be only Citta, because sometimes this Cetasika arise with Citta and the other moment, other Cetasikas, but it has to be Citta, which is the innermost, because it's always there experiencing an object right now. And it's so inner, because who knows where is it and when is it? The answer is right now. But now is where and when, at moment when it's there. Is it close? Very close. As close as no one think about it at all. Too close to think about. Just thinking about that which is seen or experienced. But without that which sees or hears or thinks, there cannot be anything at all. At moment of thinking. So just understand the truth, to be truthful to the truth. That's why when one says that I'll do this because it's anatta, is it truthful to the truth? I do this because it's anatta. Anatta is not I do. That's right, to be truthful to the truth is the very important factor to understand the truth. So truthful to understand that very moment as it is, little by little. It's not me. See, anyone can see. But what about moment of seeing? It's I who see. It's not truthful enough. To be truthful has to be truthful to all Dhammas. Each word, Dhamma, is not self, it's not me, it's not anything. Truthful to the truth, that it's a reality. That's why anytime talking about anything is the truthfulness of the truth. Oh, I do this, I cannot help, it's anatta. That is not the understanding of that moment as not self, because it's all I do this, and I think that it is anatta. So what is there hidden? Until right understanding begin to consider it careful, very careful in all aspects, in order to let go the idea of self, Otherwise, when right understanding is not enough, Panya knows it's waste time to think of trying to do anything to have more understanding. So all depends on Panya when it's right understanding of the truth. At moment of to be untruthful, is that Panya? Not at all. So just live to understand Dhamma. That's the best thing in life, especially the life which has opportunity to listen to the truth. It's there, right understanding and rooted firmly enough to condition time to be moment of hearing about Dhamma, considering and having more panya little by little. Otherwise, we would not be here.
You mean here listening, Ajahn?
Yes. Who knows what conditions this moment?
What conditions this moment of listening, I think, is past listening and past some understanding and realizing that it's the truth.
And no expectation of anything at all. Just whether it's the moment of understanding, even at the very weak level, just thinking about what is heard, and it's there. And then little by little, being aware of the characteristic of that reality as it is, until moment of understanding clearer, at moment of vipassana, nama, rupa, parichedayana. What does it mean? It's not now, at moment of seeing things around, but it can arise by conditions when time comes, when it's ready, not by anything at all, else at all. No expectation, just understand. Because without understanding, there cannot be moment of understanding what is there as it is. And understanding can understand whatever is there, no matter it's just very weak lopa or very strong lopa or any kind of reality. Panya is not afraid of anything at all because it can understand the truth of it. And the only way is just develop right understanding when time comes by condition, right now, just right now. A little more, a little more. Otherwise, nothing can eliminate attachment to what is there at all. No matter it's weak or strong, Panya can understand that very moment. Otherwise, all kinds of kusala cannot be eradicated. So the confidence of live to understand Dhamma is strong enough or not, little by little, unexpectedly. Just live by as conditions, condition any moment, but right understanding develops on and on to understand it when time comes, when conditions are ready. Is a kind of relief. Nothing to be done, but to understand from hearing, considering. And that is virya and khanti and truthfulness, satya and adhidana. Firmer and firmer, more and more, stronger and stronger, sharper and sharper, little by little. I think it's time to สวัสดีค่ะ